Thanks for joining us. I'm Jake Nissi.
And I'm Jonathan Mills. Coming up on the Badger Report, find out what the university is doing to track suicides on campus.
Then, see how the community is supporting veterans at our local library.
Coming up from the Badger Report, painting for a purpose. Find out how one family learned to give back here at Gamehole Con.
All coming up next on the Badger Report.
From Vilas Hall on the UW-Madison campus, this is the Badger Report.
Suicide has been making headlines over the past few months with the deaths of celebrities like Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade.
Suicide, and specifically tracking suicides, has also become increasingly important to University Health Services as well. The Badger Report's Taylor Palmy is here with more.
Thanks, Jonathan. Many large universities do not track suicides, but some, like UW-Madison, have begun to take the necessary steps to change this. University Health Services has very rough records of student deaths. What they do know is that in the past 20 years, there have been 199 student deaths, but many of those causes are unknown. For known causes, the majority are due to suicide or car accidents. Parents like Colleen Ream say that having more reliable data would alleviate some of her anxiety about sending her children to college and give her confidence that the university is equipped to handle her students' mental health needs.
I think if I could see the numbers and see what the programs are that they have in place, and you can compare them with other schools and make sure that it's a low rate and that they are taking measures to help alleviate some of the stress and reduce the numbers, I think I would definitely feel better.
Colleen's point about comparison is a good one, and according to UHS experts, is something that they will be looking into once they have all of the records from the CDC. UHS's co-director of mental health services, Andrea Lawson, says she suspects data from UW-Madison will have similar suicide rates as other large universities.
In general, our rates are probably in line with other universities. I would say the college student population is more indicative of these rates than any individual university.
UHS's epidemiologist, Augustina Marconi, points out another comparison that may be important to consider.
Also, what I think it's interesting to compare is college students compared to their peers that are non-college.
That's interesting. Why does Marconi want to compare non-college and college students?
Marconi says that some literature shows that college students are more at risk for suicide than non-college students are. This could be related to other factors, but the stressors related to college could be putting students more at risk.
And Taylor, when can we expect UHS to get these numbers?
They're expecting to have the complete set of data for the last 20 years sometime around March. Once they have that, they're planning on sharing their process for receiving the data with other universities in hopes that more colleges will begin tracking suicides.
I look forward to seeing these numbers once they come out. Thanks, Taylor.
Baraboo High School and District Police are investigating an anti-Semitic event that took place last spring. A group of boys gave the Nazi salute before their junior prom, alarming most of the community and the internet as the photo went viral online.
The school board president, the governor-elect Tony Evers, and even the Auschwitz Museum were amongst those that spoke out against this act of hatred and racism. An online petition is circulating calling for the suspension of the students involved. Kappa Sigma's UW charter is officially terminated after violating the student organization code of conduct during the summer. The fraternity pushed a TV off their balcony during a party, almost injuring a girl, which led to an initial suspension. The charter cannot re-register at this university for 5 years.
Under the latest campus master plan, the American Indian Student and Cultural Center is set to be demolished. Currently, there is no concrete plan for constructing a new center for American Indian students on campus. The Badger Report's Erica Gelman has more.
The Native American Student Center offers multiple services for American Indian students. It also offers a safe space on a predominantly white institution.
It's really hard being at a PWI as a Native student, especially one that kind of struggles at times to institutionally recognize the role that Native Americans have had in this region.
I am here at 215 Northbrook Street, This looks like a regular house on campus, but is actually the American Indian Student and Cultural Center. Here, many American Indian organizations are housed, such as Wunkshik and Alpha Pi Omega, which is the sorority for Native Americans on campus. Removing the space without a plan for a new center could have a negative impact on the lives of American Indians on campus.
There's a really big symbolic effect of this is just mirroring the historical displacement of Native peoples.
However, this demolition has been planned since the center's creation.
We were told that it was temporary, that it was a temporary space, and that it would be torn down in 10 years.
The lack of preemptive planning concerns those who use the center.
So I would like to see, instead of waiting around for a date to find out when destruction is going to happen and then start planning, I think we should start planning now.
With the Badger Report, I'm Erica Gelman.
November is also Native American Heritage Month, and thanks to the Native Planning Committee, there are events scheduled to attend this coming weekend. Tonight, there is a screening of the Two Spirits documentary in the Red Gym at 5:30, a story about gender in the Navajo community.
Tomorrow, nurses will have the opportunity to learn culturally responsive and trauma-informed care at the Menominee Casino Resort in Kashina. And this coming Monday, a beading workshop will be hosted at the American Indian Studies Cultural Center.
Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald collected 80 surveillance videos in an effort to find 13-year-old Jamie Kloss, the girl that disappeared in October after her parents were found shot dead inside of their home. The FBI has recently become involved, expanding their search beyond Barron County to search for clues. The whereabouts of this Kloss are still unknown.
Governor-elect Tony Evers' proposed transition budget of about $95,000 was approved by state lawmakers on Tuesday. This money will allow him to hire new staff members, buy necessary equipment, and cover his and his team's travel expenses. The sum is over $10,000 more than his predecessor, Scott Walker, requested in 2010, but closer to what Jim Doyle asked for in 2003. The measure passed the Budget Committee with a bipartisan vote.
Assembly Speaker Robin Vos stated on Monday that GOP lawmakers are considering changing the makeup of the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation Board in an effort to limit Governor-elect Tony Evers' power. Vos stated that while nothing is final, he and his fellow Republican lawmakers are discussing their options for a future under Evers' administration.
UW-Madison's 100-Hour Challenge celebrated its 10th anniversary last week. It's a fascinating event which pushes students to their creative limits. The Badger Report's Jake Nissi has more. Why is that in there?
Last Thursday, the startup learning community hosted the 100-Hour Challenge, which tests students to pitch a prototype out of surplus materials.
So if the chemistry lab doesn't need their test tubes anymore, or the athletic department doesn't need a pair of breezers from the hockey team, they'll give it to UW.
The materials are provided by Surplus with a Purpose for students to take home. They then had until Monday to submit a pitch video.
Presentation can be as important as the prototype, and so sometimes it comes down to a really cleverly or artfully pitched 3-minute video.
Judge said about 25 entrants were expected for this year's contest. They will compete for 3 different titles: Most Revenue Value, Most Social Value, and Most Creative. Each winning team will be awarded a $400 cash prize.
These items are not used anymore. But then making something really innovative and creative out of it, it's really, inspiring in a way.
According to Judge, this year's winners will be announced on November 19th, but all contestants will have benefited from the experience.
It's a great way to explore and ignite your creativity and realize that ideas can come from a bag of junk.
For the Badger Report, I'm Jake Nissi.
The suspect in the October 28th shooting on the State Street campus parking ramp, Kenyura Gadsden, waived her right to a preliminary hearing and entered a not guilty plea on Thursday. Gadsden claims she did not know the victim she shot and was attempting to fire a warning shot to scare off a group of people which she had disputes with. Gadsden is being charged for intentional homicide and for possession of a firearm. This past weekend, local residents and Wisconsinites around the state participated in the 2018 Madison Marathon.
Stay tuned to find out how one athletic Badger used her rowing experience to confidently take on the race. Then, find out what happens when books come alive at the Real Life Library.
An event where you can never judge a book by its cover. All of this after the break.
Progress is an endless challenge. Here at the University of Wisconsin, we're a community of innovators in constant motion. We think on our feet, connect with each other, and hit our stride, pushing past limits. Progress is an endless challenge, but it is only those up to the challenge who change the game.
More than a century ago, we made a commitment to our state. We promised to educate the sons and daughters of Wisconsin. More than 1 million students have passed through our doors. Our alumni have gone on to cure diseases, grow crops, build skyscrapers, found companies, score touchdowns, orbit the moon, and achieve beyond our wildest dreams, but not beyond theirs. On Wisconsin.
A pulse, felt by one, sends a ripple, felt by some, a shiver, felt by many, until it amplifies, magnifies into a tremor that electrifies, badgers everywhere, moving as one, tilting the world on its axis.
At the turn of the last century, we made a promise to our state. We promised that we would not rest until we made life better for Wisconsin. We looked in our own backyard and we planted different crops, bred new herds, identified vitamins, improved harvesting machinery, established food safety standards, and churned a lot of ice cream. We haven't stopped working to make life better for our state and the world. On Wisconsin.
A new student organization has started at UW-Madison to encourage women to get involved in politics. Leading Women for Tomorrow is an international organization that was brought to UW by the recently appointed president of the new local chapter. The organization will host speakers from state and local government, as well as hold professional development sessions. The first meeting of Leading Women for Tomorrow will be held in early December.
The Kombucha Shop, a Madison-based company, will appear on ABC's Shark Tank on Sunday night. The Kombucha Shop is a home brewing supply company that was founded in 2003. The company sells kits for brewing kombucha, a fermented tea drink, as well as ingredients to use in making kombucha. The episode of Shark Tank airs Sunday at 8 p.m. Central Time.
This Veterans Day, community members had the opportunity to learn from first-hand accounts of history through books, but not the kind you're probably thinking of. The Badger Report's Megan Jansen has more.
Reading a book takes on a whole new meaning at the Real Life Library. This series of live events provides an opportunity for people called readers to listen and learn from the storytellers called books. The nonprofit organization that puts on the Real Life Library aims to elevate well-being through storytelling.
We also record the books' stories. We call the books the storytellers. We record those on video and then build a digital library that we can then offer as a curriculum tool so that we can retell the social studies through the lens of lived experience.
WHOA, which stands for We Help One Another, has partnered with the Wisconsin Veterans Museum to produce the first ever special Veterans Day edition of the Real Life Library. 11 veterans chose to serve as books and share their experiences on this holiday celebrating their service to the nation.
It's good for veterans to get their story out there. A lot of times we keep everything bottled up inside of us because that's just what we do.
One of the readers describes her experience at the Real Life Library this Veterans Day as life-changing and inspirational.
This was an act of service. They wanted to share their story, and this was an opportunity for them to have ears to listen to their story. Although they did me a favor, I did them a favor as well.
For the Badger Report, I'm Megan Jensen.
Miller Coors is in court this week since deciding not to continue their Pabst manufacturing deal without charging a new price going into 2020. They have been producing Pabst Blue Ribbon since 2014, but their $17 a barrel price is just not sustainable for the company anymore.
Miller Coors wanted to charge Pabst $42 for every barrel of beer they made, which Paris, the Pabst attorney, deemed unfair. If Pabst loses this case, it could lead to their bankruptcy. The trial is expected to last 3 weeks.
Coming up, the Badger Report's Brandon Fishman will tell you what to expect as we head into winter.
And as it becomes colder, a student organization on campus is helping the homeless obtain warm winter gear.
A pulse, felt by one, sends a ripple, felt by some. A shiver, felt by many, until it amplifies, magnifies into a tremor that electrifies. Badgers everywhere, moving as one, tilting the world on its axis.
Progress is an endless challenge. Here at the University of Wisconsin, we're a community of innovators in constant motion. We think on our feet, connect with each other, and hit our stride, pushing past limits. Progress is an endless challenge, but it is only those up to the challenge who change the game.
More than a century ago, we made a commitment to our state. We promised to educate the sons and daughters of Wisconsin. More than 1 million students have passed through our doors. Our alumni have gone on to cure diseases, grow crops, build skyscrapers, found companies, score touchdowns, orbit the moon, and achieve beyond our wildest dreams, but not beyond theirs. On Wisconsin. In 1905, we made a promise. We promised that our work at Wisconsin would make life better for our state. Our research has developed crops, restored lakes, cured diseases, uncovered history, peered into space, and saved lives. More than a century later, we've not only kept our promise to Wisconsin, we've extended it to the world. On Wisconsin.
It's really getting cold here in Madison. I've already started wearing my boots and winter coat to class.
I'm in the same boat. We experienced our first snowfall last week, but I wonder, is there more to come? Here's Brandon Fishman with the weather.
Thanks, Jonathan. It is now mid-November, which means it's officially time to break out your favorite holiday playlists and your warmest jacket. Let's take a look at this weekend's weather. Today, we saw sunny skies with a high of 43 and a low of 28 in the evening. Tomorrow, expect more of the same with a little bit more overcast. Saturday, it's going to be pretty chilly, so anticipate some strong winds, a 40% chance of snow, and a low of 19 degrees. It's going to be an indoor study day for me. Finally, we'll see a slight rebound on Sunday with sunny skies and a high of 30 degrees. That's all from me. Have a great weekend and enjoy Thanksgiving with your friends and family. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Brandon. Cold temperatures and snow sure do bring holiday cheer to many. However, for the homeless, winter causes anxiety. To combat the dropping temperatures, a student organization is trying to bring spirits up through outreach efforts. The Badger reports.
When temperatures drop, most Dane County residents have a warm place to return. However, for the community's large homeless population, staying warm is a more difficult task. Fortunately, the student-led organization Bundle Up is doing its part to try to help those in need. Since 2015, members have been distributing warm winter clothing and personal hygiene products to the homeless population across Dane County. Avery Arand is the group's vice president and says it is making a positive difference in her life too.
All the work we're doing has a very immediate impact within our community, but also I think it's really given me a different perspective into just social stigmas as well.
On Wednesday, Bundle Up hosted a clothing swap at East Campus Mall. Students paid a small admission fee, and the proceeds raised will be used to help those that are down in their luck this winter.
Students interested in learning more can join the Bundle Up Facebook group or email bundleupmadison@gmail.com.
How did Wisconsin men's basketball fare against Xavier on Tuesday? The Badger reports Noah Rubinitz will break that down the game and what this season has in store for the Badgers.
Find out about the woman helping gamers give back to veterans at a convention in a very unique way after the break.
A pulse, felt by one, sends a ripple, felt by some. A shiver, felt by many, until it amplifies, magnifies into a tremor that electrifies. Badgers everywhere, moving as one, tilting the world on its axis.
More than a century ago, we made a commitment to our state. We promised to educate the sons and daughters of Wisconsin. More than 1 million students have passed through our doors. Our alumni have gone on to cure diseases, grow crops, build skyscrapers, found companies, score touchdowns, orbit the moon, and achieve beyond our wildest dreams, but not beyond theirs. On Wisconsin.
Progress is an endless challenge. Here at the University of Wisconsin, we're a community of innovators in constant motion. We think on our feet, connect with each other, and hit our stride, pushing past limits. Progress is an endless challenge, but it is only those up to the challenge who change the game.
In 1905, we made a promise. We promised that our work at Wisconsin would make life better for our state. Our research has developed crops, restored lakes, cured diseases, uncovered history, peered into space, and saved lives. More than a century later, we've not only kept our promise to Wisconsin, we've extended it to the world. On Wisconsin.
It's been a really interesting week for Wisconsin fans.
And here's Noah Rubnetz with the sports update.
Thanks, Jonathan. It was not so happy in Happy Valley for the Badgers on Saturday when they lost to the Nittany Lions of Penn State 22-10. The Badgers' backup quarterback Jack Cohn jumped in for starting quarterback Alex Hornibrook as he was out for concussion protocol. Cohn couldn't keep the ball in his hands as he completed 2 interceptions and was sacked 5 times. Running back Jonathan Taylor ran for 185 yards but couldn't escape the 125 yards Penn State held against the Badgers in the second half. The Badgers look to face Purdue this weekend in West Lafayette, and fans can stay tuned on Big Ten Network. And the Packers kept the fish frozen in the tundra on Sunday as the Packers played the Miami Dolphins, securing a win at home, 31-12. The Dolphins, who are now number 32 in the NFL on defense, lost a brave fight against a skilled Green Bay offense as running back Aaron Jones sliced up Miami's offense, rushing for 145 yards on only 15 attempts. The Packers are looking to face the Seattle Seahawks tonight on Thursday Night Football. You can watch this game on Fox or NFL Network at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. As winter is coming up, don't fear the deer. The Milwaukee Bucks suffered a tough loss against the Los Angeles Clippers Friday night and came back to outlast the Denver Broncos 121-114. The unstoppable Greek Freak finished the night with 22 points in the game, and for the Milwaukee Bucks, they came back to Brew City with their first win in the Pepsi Center since 2010. The Bucks will face the Nuggets at home on Monday at 7 p.m. Last season, the Wisconsin men's basketball team missed the NCAA tournament, stopping their 19-year streak of March Madness appearances. Injuries and inexperience played a role in their 15-18 record, but this year is already off to a solid start. After the win in last week's opener versus Coppin State, the Badgers avenged last year's loss with a statement win at Xavier on Tuesday night. Senior Ethan Happ contributed 30 points and 13 rebounds, but this year, the team is focused less on individual stats and accolades, something that student team manager Josh Wax says he has noticed already.
More team-oriented this year, really focused on playing in the system and doing what they do best together instead of whatever you saw last year.
Wax says that this year is a redemption season for the Badgers. By getting back to playing Wisconsin basketball and tough defense and efficient offense, Wax says they can achieve their goal of returning to the NCAA tournament. During the Wisconsin-Xavier's game watch party at the Kohl Center, we caught up with a few Badger faithfuls to hear their thoughts on this season.
Big Ten ranking, we might be optimistic me is like 3 or 4. Realistic me is like 7 or 8.
We do have enough shooters around half to be successful, win most home games, steal some on the road as well.
I'm hoping Final Four, Big Ten championship, make up for some football losses.
Wisconsin is just outside the AP Top 25 poll at number 29. The team hopes to build on their early season success at this year's Battle for Atlantis tournament in the Bahamas over Thanksgiving break. Many student athletes lose their stamina in the offseason, but as I found out Sunday, one UW student swapped her oar for her running shoes.
3, 2, there it is.
Pinterest gives do-it-yourselfers inspiration, but for former Badger rower Maddie Brunette, Pinterest gave her another leg in her athletic career. Rowing to the finish line turned into a half marathon for Brunette as she joined over 3,000 runners to complete her fifth 13.1-mile race to beat her record time. This race wasn't a jog, rather Maddie searched on Pinterest for a training regimen to increase her stamina.
This is the first one that I've actually trained for, so I was ready. I went out pretty fast and it just felt like I was prepared.
Brunette used to rely on her rowing stamina to get her through the race, but now she just relies on her rowing playlist.
After training for something and putting so much effort into rowing, it was hard when it came full stop.
Her rowing teammate and current roommate cheered on Brunette for not jeopardizing her athleticism after her rowing career ended.
Maddie definitely inspired me. Going into another sport I think is really helpful because I think athletics at that point is going to be part of your life.
Brunette intensely trained for this half marathon and ran alongside many others.
As a 24th year, we focus on bringing everyone together downtown and being able to run the route, which is really cool because training all year for our events.
Her training doesn't end here as she hopes to soon complete a full marathon.
I personally defined myself as a rower. That was part of my identity for 6 years. So now I can define myself as like another type of athlete and still be an athlete without having that label of rowing.
Maddie chooses not to rely on her skill, but rather her athleticism to finish her race. Congratulations to Maddie and the other 3,100 racers for finishing on such a cold day.
Thanks for sports, Noah.
Coming up, we'll take you inside the Gamehole Con, where childhood memories are brought back to life.
Over now.
Progress is an endless challenge. Here at the University of Wisconsin, we're a community of innovators in constant motion. We think on our feet, connect with each other, and hit our stride, pushing past limits. Progress is an endless challenge, but it is only those up to the challenge who change the game.
More than a century ago, we made a commitment to our state. We promised to educate the sons and daughters of Wisconsin. More than 1 million students have passed through our doors. Our alumni have gone on to cure diseases, grow crops, build skyscrapers, found companies, score touchdowns, orbit the moon, and achieve beyond our wildest dreams, but not beyond theirs. On Wisconsin.
A pulse, felt by one, sends a ripple, felt by some. A shiver, felt by many, until it amplifies, magnifies into a tremor that electrifies. Badgers everywhere, moving as one, tilting the world on its axis.
At the turn of the last century, we made a promise to our state. We promised that we would not rest until we made life better for Wisconsin. We looked in our own backyard and we planted different crops, bred new herds, identified vitamins, improved harvesting machinery, established food safety standards, and churned a lot of ice cream. We haven't stopped working to make life better for our state and the world. On Wisconsin.
Over the weekend, avid game players got a chance to share their respective passions with one another. Hundreds of people came to the Alliant Energy Center to play all sorts of games, while one woman tried to make a difference. The Badger Report's John Sklar has the story.
The bag seems to be made of the same material as this cocoon.
People from across the Midwest have come to compete in some of their favorite tabletop games. The 4-day convention Gamehole Con has become a Madison staple over the past 6 years, featuring thousands of opportunities for attendees to play in games ranging from Hero of the Troll Wars to Purging the Blood. While most are here enjoying their free time, others attend for a far greater purpose. Christine Wellner is the founder of Get the Let Out for Fun, an organization especially close to people's hearts this past Veterans Day weekend.
We have a lot of veterans in my family and my husband's family, so this kind of connection is very important to us.
For Christine, painting takes on a new significance by raising money for the Wounded Warrior Project, a charity which helps soldiers and their families adjust to life after war. Combining her love for gaming and art with her dedication to giving back, Wellner found a way to help more than just one community.
It's not only giving back to our service people, but it's also giving back to the game community, you know, because there is so much more to gaming than just playing the games.
For anyone doubting their ability to succeed, Wellner has some sage advice.
But again, trust in yourself and don't be afraid to try something.
For the Badger Report, I'm John Sklar.
What an amazing weekend honoring our veterans.
That's all on the Badger Report today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jonathan Mills.
And I'm Jake Nissy. We'll be back with more news after the Thanksgiving break.